Next on Startup, we travel to Atlanta, Georgia to talk to Luke, a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur who started Sack Daddies, a new seafood restaurant concept based off a family legacy. Then we're going to swing by Louisville, Kentucky to talk to Heather, a theater lover and costume designer who created Custom Wig Company, a business that makes handcrafted wigs for people all over the world. All of this and more is next on Startup.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support Startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup. I'm on Candler Road in Atlanta, Georgia. We're gonna go talk to Luke, who created Sack Daddies. Now, from a young age, Luke always loved to cook, but it was his unmatched drive and determination that's sure to put Sack Daddies on the map. Let's go hear his story. About 3/4 of the seafood products consumed in the US are either fresh or frozen, and the sale of these product forms has increased steadily over the past 2 decades. Shellfish accounts for about 1/4 of all consumption, and the average American consumes more than 16 pounds of seafood annually. Luke has always been a highly motivated self-starter, but when he realized his passion for the seafood industry, he put everything he had into this delicious concept and hasn't looked back since. So tell us who you are and a little bit about your history and background.
Well, my name is Luke Ingram. I was born in Douglas, Georgia, small town. We moved to Germany at an early age.
Germany?
Yeah, grew up in Germany, was over there about 4 or 5 years. Right out of high school, joined the military, did 4 years military, went to the Gulf War, the first one.
Wow.
Came home and got out of the military, moved here to Atlanta. I went to DeVry and I received a BS in business.
What was the next step?
Barber.
Barber.
Right.
That was a curveball. I was not expecting that. Barber, okay. You are a true entrepreneur, man.
Yes. I was a barber for 7 years.
What, did you have your own shop, or were you?
Yes, it was in Brunswick, Georgia.
Wow,
Yes.
okay, so you owned your own barber shop too. So you know what it's like to be a business owner already.
Oh yeah.
What was the kind of the impetus for this idea? What sparked the idea to get into food?
I lost my father when I was 2 years old.
Wow.
And then my mother had a drug addiction. I used to have to cook for my sister and I. And I got pretty good at cooking, and then, I was a bachelor for a long time. And so I love to eat. I can't eat junk food. I have to eat good cooked food. Where I'm from, Douglas, they're big seafood eaters.
Mm-hmm.
Blue crabs, they love blue crabs here. And I got this flavor and this recipe, and I took it over there and had some people try it out, and they loved it. Told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm about to start selling crabs. And so she looks at me and was like, you don't sell crabs? I said, yeah. She said, so I just get up and I walk back to the room.
She probably trusts your instincts by this point.
No.
She was kidding.
She was not feeling that, right?
He basically came to me over a year ago and said, I think I'm going to sell crabs 1 week. The next week is I'm trading in my two-door Challenger and I'm buying a pickup. And I'm like, oh my God. But today, here we are, and I'm glad that I didn't just shoot down the idea.
Right.
It was kind of like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. We'll see how long it lasts.
How's it been so far, like dealing with all this and opening 2 places, and is it just getting crazy or what?
It's been crazy because the demand is definitely more than what we can offer right now, being that we are a small business.
She lost her job last April.
Okay.
And since then, the seafood company has grown so much that we've been able to provide for the family. So she looks at me now and she's like, if you hadn't never said anything about those crabs, I don't know what we'd do.
According to Livestrong.com, shellfish contain life-enhancing minerals like copper, iodine, iron, selenium, and zinc, which is critical to the human libido and male fertility. So let's go back to, you call your wife, you get the truck.
Mm-hmm.
You start bootlegging crab, you said?
Before I even got the truck or anything, I went back, I got some burners and some big crab pots.
Okay.
All right, so I started cooking my own crabs. I got the plates and everything, the bags from Restaurant Depot and Sam's and everything. First time I went to Douglas as my own, I bought about 5 bushels of crab. 5 bushels of crab is a lot of crab, because I'm thinking I'm about to just get rich real quick. Because I'm buying them for this and y'all gonna buy them for that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. So when I went over there with 5 bushels of crab, I sold 2 bushels.
3 left.
So I lost. But I knew I had something, so I still was cutting hair, cooking crabs on the weekend.
Yep.
I probably did bootleg like that about 2 months. And then I said, well, I need to get a enclosed trailer or a restaurant. I was looking for a restaurant first,
Yeah.
but I really didn't know too much about the restaurant business, so I figured I'd go a cheaper route and get a concession trailer.
Okay.
So
What was the cost of that?
the concession trailer, $3,500.
You got 2 locations going at the same time. That's just insanity, in my opinion. What was the total cost to get in this, and how many investors are involved, and how much money did they have to pull together to make this all happen between the 2? Just you don't have to get into specifics, but just a rough number so people understand what it takes to do this.
About $20,000.
About 20,000?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's
I
still
mean,
not that bad.
It's not that bad between 3 people and everything. So.
No, not bad
Yeah.
at all. What's a sack daddy?
Sack Daddy is a name my granddad had.
Okay.
My grandfather was Quincy Robinson, and he would actually go get pork skin,
Yeah.
fresh hog, bring it back to his house, have me, my cousin, maybe a couple of friends, we'd be cutting them up in chunks like this, little square chunks.
Yeah.
He had this big black wash pot full of lard grease,
So you're making pork rinds.
pork rinds. And everybody called him Sack Daddy because he sold everything in sacks.
sack.
And he would go around town to town. And he had these little sayings and things. He'd be like, hey, get it while it's hot, fresh out the pot. Get it while it's hot. As soon as he park the car, pop it up, people rushing.
So how important is failure to success?
It's critical because if you're winning all the time, you don't know how to lose. Okay,
right.
so it's like,
Like you bought 5 bushels and only sold 2.
Exactly.
What did that teach you?
It taught me
Keep your inventory low.
Keep your inventory low. It's better to sell out than throw away.
Let's talk about social media. How important has that been for your business?
It's critical. I mean, without it, I'd probably be still cutting hair. And we have almost 12,000 followers on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
So by us going through these smaller towns, the word of mouth just continues to grow it and grow it and grow it. And it seems like it's been overnight.
It's advantageous to analyze the top 3 area restaurants in your market for their strengths and weaknesses. Try to understand how to compete with them by understanding exactly who they are and what makes you different. So what is it about the food?
I mean, the seasoning, just looking at it now, I just want to dive in.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's delicious.
Do you love what you do?
I love what I do. I mean, I love making people, bringing some type of joy. If it's through food, if it's through washing a car, doing a haircut, or whatever I've done in life, as long as I walk away and somebody say, hey man, I'm pleased with what you did.
Teach me how to be a crab man.
Okay, well really for here,
Okay.
we're just gonna take this top off, take that plastic bag there and pick it up.
Okay. Just dump it all right in?
Just dump it right in there.
Okay. How much crab did we just cook?
10 pounds, we're gonna
10
do.
pounds.
Yeah, we do 20. I go through about 100, we do 110 pounds here a week.
110 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so lay in the crab.
Add another tool like that.
Man, how much of this sauce you go through? Probably a lot, huh?
Per 100 pounds, about 4 gallons.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say we've only made 3 of these things and it's already getting low.
Yeah.
And then a handful of
A
shrimp?
handful of shrimp.
All right.
There you go.
This is my first
Gary's
sack daddy.
No crab combo. Looks pretty good too.
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad
at all.
for a rookie.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us today. I'm either gonna eat my arm off or eat something from here. So, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Luke do it? Let's find out. He started with roughly $200 in the bank and a credit score of 580. In the first 14 months, he was able to make $70,000 while taking a $5,000 loss. The business was completely self-financed, and Luke said what it really takes to open a business is belief. Luke spent years fishing around for different career ideas until he was able to see food as a way to make a living. When the opportunity came along to open up Sack Daddies, he put his heart and soul into making his dreams official. Sink or swim, Luke dove right in, and it looks like this idea really floats. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Sack Daddies. I'm on Webster and Washington in Louisville, Kentucky. And we're gonna go talk to Heather, who created Custom Wig Company. After trying her luck in corporate America, Heather realized that she just didn't quite fit in. So she took her interest in custom wig making and is turning it into a global business. Let's go hear her story. The ancient Egyptians wore wigs after having to shave their heads due to bug infestations. During this time, wigs became an indication of social status and were often kept in place with beeswax and resin. Today, wigs are typically worn on special occasions, events, or parties, and even the red carpet. Heather Fleming had always been into theater and costume design, and after taking on a traditional corporate job, she decided to turn her passion for wig making into a sustainable business. Okay, so start by telling us who you are, a little bit about your background.
I grew up in a little town in Illinois, in the middle of nowhere, called Pana. And I went to the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign to take a master's degree in costume technology and shop management. And I then spent the next 8 years working in regional theaters across the country before forming a company to make wigs for interpreters, Santas, actors, reenactors, anyone who needs hair goods.
This had to be something that you were interested in maybe from childhood or something? Like, what made you want to go into costume technology?
I discovered that I didn't like a lot of the jobs in theater, but I really liked costumes and dressing people and figuring out what people would be wearing in certain times and places. And I also really liked costume history, how we've dressed through the ages. I came to Louisville to work at Actors Theater of Louisville in the same position, working as their wig designer. And during that interval, I also started picking up freelance work, doing things like Santas or something else specialized someone would need. And at first it was just a lucrative and fun side business for me, but as it kept growing, I realized that it would be really great for me to stop working in theater full time and to open a company and start doing that and focusing on high quality hair goods for people.
So is wig making, is this a competitive industry? I mean, are there wig shops all over the country?
We gather once a year and we fight to the death for prominence in the field. No, we don't. There aren't as many people who build for non-theater or non-film or non-effects things like we do. And so in that sense, we're very fortunate in that there's not a huge competitive field to break into, which has certainly been an advantage.
How many wigs does it take to cover your expenses, your hard expenses?
Boy, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it in terms of wigs. Obviously, like anything else, we have a labor and a material cost in it. Labor is by far, in most cases, the higher cost because everything's made by hand. It takes anywhere between 15 to 40 hours to tie a wig, depending on the wig and the scale of it and the length, the hair. Gets more expensive.
Is it human hair?
It's mostly human hair. We do some synthetic pieces. Generally, we use human hair.
Okay.
The longer the hair is, the more expensive it is. The higher quality the hair, the more expensive it is. And that's why I say it's so custom. We generally need to book 4 to 6 clients over about a 10-day period. It's about how it averages out. And it's funny because like any other business, we will go a week with nothing, and then we'll book 4 clients in 2 days. It's really scary, and it's those moments when you have to remind yourself, okay, 2 days ago, you booked 3 clients. So it's okay that the phone isn't ringing today. It's just a matter of averages. But it's really hard some days to remind yourself. It's all about the average. It's all about the bigger picture. I actually keep our client board written up on the wall so I can see it, so I can remind myself of like what we have going on, where it's going, when it needs to be out the door, and to remind myself, like, no, we're doing this. This is great.
Hiring employees is always kind of a scary subject for people to approach.
Definitely.
What is your story about bringing on people for help?
Well, I was actually so lucky. I taught workshops in a lot of universities while I was still employed in theater. And I went to Michigan State University and I went to West Virginia University. And in both places, I met 2 different women named Hannah, who were students. And in both places, I discovered that each of these Hannahs was very, very good at tying knots and making wigs. And I thought, well, this is excellent. So I had these 2 wonderful, talented women who were willing to look at me when I said, I think I'm going to start a business and do this, and say, okay, instead of saying, are you crazy? Why would you do that?
So which Hannah are you?
I'm Hannah Wold, the tall Hannah.
Tall Hannah? Is that what you're known as, tall Hannah?
Also Hannah Maximus.
What type of patience does it take to go hair by hair to make a wig?
Learning to tie knots was literally the hardest thing I've ever learned how to do. Not everyone's as slow as I was. I was just on the...
You're slow Hannah.
Slow, that's what I am. I'm slow Hannah. And actually, other Hannah did learn quite fast, so she's fast Hannah.
Fast Hannah and slow
quick
Hannah.
Hannah and slow Hannah. Oh.
So the other Hannah was talking a bunch of smack about you.
Yeah, well, typical.
What goes into tying?
It is just, it's so tiny that it can be really, really hard to get that little tiny motion just right.
Yeah.
It's really easy to break a hair or just miss entirely or have it fall off the hook if you don't have the tension right.
The most expensive wig ever sold at an auction was the one that belonged to Andy Warhol. The wig was sold for an astonishing $10,800. So now for the big question.
Oh.
What does Santa Claus mean to you?
Santa Claus means to me that we get to help a lot of individuals in the course of 1 year do something that's actually pretty important and pretty pivotal to a whole lot of kids and families. And I'm so delighted that the Santas found me, that they started coming to me, and then one Santa would tell another Santa.
Did you leave cookies and milk outside the building?
Not yet, but I may try that this year. Truly, we did 33 Santa pieces last year total.
$500-600 roughly, 1,000.
Santa sets are anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 depending on the set. Because there's a lot of hair in them. There's a lot of work in them.
Yeah.
It's a wig and a beard and a mustache.
It looks complicated.
It's complicated.
When you said tying
we
wigs,
tie
so
every hair in.
Every hair?
Every hair, 1 at a time. Well, 1 or 2 at a time.
Can you give me a rough estimate on what it took? What did it cost for you to open this business?
Boy, that's a really great question. Probably $5,000 to $10,000 spread out over a few years' time.
And that was completely self-funded, I would assume?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys do here?
Our job is to interpret people and events throughout history. First person or secondary accounts of people or events in history, letters, personal accounts and things like that. One of Heather's wigs is my Buffalo Bill wig. This is a little ratty right now, but you know, as you can tell, I'm not this color.
Right.
But you put this on, and then you put the goatee and the mustache, and things just change.
What's the quality of these wigs that Heather does?
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, she's amazing. What's beautiful about it is the venting, is all of this.
What is venting?
Well, this right here, this material.
Okay.
This little mesh
It's
material.
the actual cap that goes on, yeah.
That's the
Form fit.
thing that fits, and all of this is hand sewn, you know, and it's human hair, so it's really, really gorgeous. She's a wonderful woman, you know. She's great to work with. She's very accommodating, and she'll do anything, you know, to make it work.
What would you say to another person who's sitting at home and they're watching this and maybe they're working somewhere and want to split off and do something similar in their field, or they just have a harebrained idea that they want to do something different and unique? What's your advice to them?
My advice would be to do your homework, honestly. Research the field. It's not enough to just say, oh, I want to make wigs. It's, you know, well, okay, but what's the market for those wigs? How much realistically can I earn doing those wigs for people? What's the client base? How competitive is the market?
So just going in with your eyes wide open, basically.
Open, yep. And it's going to be so hard and so rewarding, and you'll probably never sleep well again, or at least you won't sleep as well. But the trade-off is that when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep because you're worrying about something or the other, it's all for your own, you're building something from it.
More wigs were made for the film The Two Towers, the second Lord of the Rings film, than any other film in history. Okay, so let's do some wig shopping here. I need to find something that'll work well for me. So what do you think would be the best wig for me?
We have a lovely Elizabethan wig here. If you want to try out your best Queen Elizabeth impersonation, we could do this for you. We created this for a woman who has made a replica dress from a 16th century painting.
So this whole thing is done by looking at photos online and replicating.
Yeah, we have a bunch of research from the era, all primary sources. We work off of that, and we create something that will work on the client as well as be of the era.
And then this Amadeus?
Amadeus.
Is it really, or is it Santa?
No, it's a Santa. But it's Amadeus if you want it to be Amadeus.
Okay.
You want to try it on?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I put this one on?
You can put it on.
Okay, perfect.
Take a deep breath. This won't hurt badly. Great. Well, I think we can all agree that this is...
Is this the look for me?
This is the look for you right here.
Thick, luxurious head of white hair.
Now you know what it's like.
This is my dream.
You're living the dream.
This is called what? Orangey?
Yeah, that's another option for you.
Okay.
See, this might be a little bit more your color.
This one fits perfect. Oh, it feels good too.
Like it was made for you.
I feel very free wearing this for some reason.
Okay. Let's see, maybe this is a
this
little more
one-
to your liking.
Yes.
This
Now
is
that
this is
fits
a little more
perfect.
grand.
Yeah, and I feel luxurious.
You should.
I really do. So is it kind of like a pompadour, like a
It's
50s kind of look?
It's 1750s maybe, not 1950s.
So Heather, thank you so much for having me in today. I think this is the one that I want.
Great.
Absolutely. Do you think it's going to work for like a day-to-day, everyday type of thing? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting us and letting us invade your space. I think you have an incredible business here, and look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Great. Thank you so much.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Heather do it? Let's find out. She started out with around $5,000 in the bank and had a credit score of over 700. She only spent around $7,000 total to open up her business, and she profited an astounding $35,000 in her first year. The business was completely self-financed, and the word that Heather uses to describe what it takes to make it in business is gumption. Although opening a small business can get pretty hairy, Heather took the time to get to the root of her industry, and she didn't wig out when times got tough. Looks to me like Heather found a way to weave her passion into profits. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Custom Wig Company.
So I think if you're an entrepreneur, you really know in your gut that you're an entrepreneur. I've really known since I was little, I was always building, I was always creating, and I get really excited to try to build infrastructure and to create and solve problems. And the most important thing you can do as an entrepreneur is know that you are one, figure out what you're really, really passionate about, that you're willing to literally live and breathe about, because that's what it is and that's what it means to be an entrepreneur, and then go do it.
Next time on Startup, we head to Cedar Rapids, Iowa to talk to Steve and Andrea, a husband and wife team who created EcoLips, a B corporation that creates organic lip balm. Then we head over to Birmingham, Alabama to talk to Selena, a highly motivated entrepreneur who started Sarcor, a civil engineering firm that's helping to redesign local communities. Be sure to join us next time on Startup.
Yeah, let's do another option for you. Let's see, this might be a little bit more your color.
This one fits perfect. Oh, it feels good too.
Like it was made for you.
I feel very free. What? So I know we're on opposite sides of the fence, but why do you always gotta balk about what you do, huh?
American Express is proud to support startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.